The Parachutist Badge, also commonly referred to as Jump Wings, is a military badge of the United States Armed Forces awarded to members of the United States Army, Air Force, Marine Corps and Navy. The United States Coast Guard is the only branch that does not issue its own Parachutist Badge, but its members are authorized to receive the Parachutist Badges of other services in accordance with their prescribed requirements. The two demilitary services are all awarded the same Basic Parachutist Badge. The Army and Air Force issue the same Senior and Master Parachutist Badges, while the Navy and Marine Corps issue the Navy and Marine Corps Parachutist Badge to advanced parachutists. The majority of the services earn their Basic Parachutist Badge through the U.S. Army Airborne School. Army. The Army's Basic Parachutist Badge is awarded to all military personnel of any service who complete the U.S. Army Basic Airborne course at Fort Benning, Georgia. It signifies that the soldier is a trained military parachutist, and is qualified to participate in airborne operations. The badge and its so-on equivalent may be worn on the Army combat uniform. The original Army Parachutist Badge was designed in 1941 by Captain William P. Yarborough and approved by the Department of the Army in March of that year. The Parachutist Badge replaced the Parachutist Patch, which had previously worn as a large patch on the side of a paratrooper's garrison cap. LTG Yarborough also designed the Senior and Master Parachutist Badges and the addition of stars to portray the number of combat jumps. The flash that is worn behind the badge is also a contribution of William P. Yarborough. Basic Parachutist Badge to be eligible for award of the Basic Parachutist Badge, an individual must have completed the Basic Airborne course of the Airborne School of the United States Army Infantry School at Fort Benning, Georgia. To graduate, a student must complete the three-phase course consisting of a ground phase, a tower phase, and a jump phase. By the end of the course, a student will have completed 5 jumps in varying jump configurations, from a no-load jump all the way to a full combat load jump at night. Senior Parachutist Badge to be eligible for the Senior Parachutist Badge, an individual must have been rated excellent in character and efficiency and have met the following requirements: participated in a minimum of 30 jumps including 15 jumps with combat equipment to consist of normal TOE equipment including individual weapon carried in combat whether the jump was in actual or simulated combat. In cases of simulated combat, the equipment will include water, rations, ammunition, and other essential items necessary to sustain an individual in combat. 2 night jumps must also be made during the hours of darkness, one of which will be as jump master of a stick. In addition, 2 must tactical jumps which culminate in an airborne assault problem with either a unit equivalent to a battalion or larger, a separate company battery, or an organic staff of regimental size or larger. The soldier must fill a position commensurate with his or her rank or grade during the problem. Either graduated from the Jump Master course of the United States Army Advanced Airborne School at Fort Bragg, the Airborne Department of the Infantry School or the Jump Master School of a separate airborne battalion or larger airborne unit, or infantry divisions and separate infantry brigades containing organic airborne elements, including the United States Army Alaska or the United States Army Special Operations Command Jump Master course, or served as Jump Master on 1 or more combat jumps or as a Jump Master on 15 non-combat jumps. Have served on jump status with an airborne unit or other organization's authorized parachutists for a total of at least 24 months. Master Parachutist Badge to be eligible for the Master Parachutist Badge, an individual must have been rated excellent in character and efficiency and have met the following requirements: participated in a minimum of 65 jumps including 25 jumps with combat equipment to consist of normal TOE equipment, including individual weapon carried by the individual in combat whether the jump was in actual or simulated combat. In cases of simulated combat, the equipment will include water rations, ammunition, and other essential items necessary to sustain an individual in combat. 4 night jumps must also be made during the hours of darkness, 1 as Jump Master of a stick. 5 must tactical jumps must be made which culminate in an airborne assault problem with a unit equivalent to a battalion or larger, a separate company battery, or an organic staff of regimental size or larger. The individual must fill a position commensurate with their rank or grade during the problem. Either graduated from the Jump Master course of the Airborne Department of the Infantry School or the Jump Master School of a separate airborne battalion or larger airborne unit, or infantry divisions and separate infantry brigades containing organic airborne elements, including the U.S. Army Alaska Jump Master course, or served as Jump Master on one or more combat jumps or as Jump Master on 33 non-combat jumps. Have served on jump status with an airborne unit or other organization authorized parachutists for a total of 36 months. The 25 combat equipment jumps necessary to qualify for the Master Parachutist Badge must be from a static line. The Master Parachutist Badge is 38 mm in width at the widest part of the wings and 31 mm from the top of the wreath to the bottom of the parachute where the risers meet in a point. Airborne background trimming equals. Soldiers assigned to Army units on airborne status wear a cloth oval background trimming underneath their parachutist badge, which shares the basic design of the unit's beret flash. This is one method by which an individual can identify a parachute-qualified soldier serving in a unit on active jump status, called a paratrooper, versus a parachutist serving in a non-airborne unit. The original background trimming was also a contribution of William P. Yarborough. Combat jump device equals, if a soldier completes an airborne jump into a combat zone, they are authorized to wear a combat jump device on their parachutist badge. The device consists of a star or arrangements of stars, indicating the number of combat jumps. The use of stars as combat jump devices did not gain official approval until after the 1983 invasion of Grenada. The stars are awarded as follows. Air Force. Like the Army, the Air Forces use the same parachutist badges in the same 3 degrees but have different criteria for the awarding of these badges. The level of degree is determined by the number of jumps the wearer has successfully completed, years of service in the Air Force, and other requirements as specified by AFI 11-402, Aviation and Parachutist Service, Aeronautical Ratings and Badges. In 1956 the Air Force began issuing a unique Basic, Senior, and Master Parachutist Badges. These Parachutist Badges were modeled after the Air Force's medical badges. Due to popular demand, the Air Force decided to revert to issuing the Army-style Parachutist Badges in 1963. Common recipients of Air Force Parachutist Badges include, Air Force Combat Control Teams/Special Tactics Officers, Air Force Pararescue Airmen/Combat Rescue Officers, Air Force Special Operations Weather Technicians, Air Force Tactical Air Control Party Members, USTRANSCOM's Joint Enabling Capabilities Command, Joint Communications Support Element Personnel. Note: USAF personnel assigned to the airborne portion of the USAF's Joint Communications Support Squadron and JCSE consist of a limited number of personnel within the larger USAF communications and cyber career fields and not all personnel in those career fields. USAF Joint Communications Support Squadron personnel, Air Force Survival, Evasion, Resistance and Escape Specialists, Air Force Security Forces Contingency Response Group personnel, U.S. Air Force Academy cadets and selected Air Force Reserve Officer Training Corps cadets who complete USAF's Airmanship 490 course, or the U.S. Army's Basic Airborne course at Fort Benning, GA, Rapid Engineer Deployable Heavy Operational Repair Squadron Engineers. Note: USAF Airborne Red Horse personnel consist of a limited number of USAF personnel within selected USAF Civil Engineering Squadrons and Red Horse Squadrons, not the entire career field. Air Force Aircrew Flight Equipment Specialists. Note: most aircrew, flight equipment, and life support technicians do not attend airborne training nor serve on jump status. Air Force Aerospace and Operational Physiology Technicians. Note: most physiology technicians do not attend airborne training nor serve on jump status. Basic Parachutist Badge equals, the Air Force Basic Parachutist Badge is the same as the Army Basic Parachutist Badge. Air Force personnel may be awarded the decoration following completion of basic parachute training through a designated Air Force Air-Ground Training Program. Air Force personnel generally earn the Basic Parachutist Badge either through the Army's Airborne School at Fort Benning, or USAFA cadets and USAF officers who graduated from USAFA through completion of the AM490 Freefall Parachute Training course taught by AETC's 98th Flying Training Squadron at the U.S. Air Force Academy. The Freefall program is offered to U.S. Air Force Academy cadets and, as a result, a large percentage of Air Force Academy graduates wear the Basic Parachutist Badge. The course is designed for USAFA cadets to develop character, confidence, and courage. The course, however, does not qualify a graduate for Department of Defense jump units. Air Force members interested in pursuing a job requiring jump status must attend the United States Army Airborne School. Senior Parachutist Badge equals. The Air Force Senior Parachutist Insignia consists of the standard Air Force parachutist with a star atop the parachute. Awarded for 30 static line jumps. Those 30 jumps must include 2 jumps during the hours of darkness, 15 jumps with operational equipment, 2 jumps with an operational unit that ended in an airborne assault or operational problem, or 4 test jumps with experimental equipment. Actually perform one night jump as a primary jump master, and 7 jumps performing as PJM. Master Parachutist Badge equals. The Air Force Master Parachutist Insignia consists of the Senior Air Force Parachutist with a star centered within the wreath. Awarded for 65 static line jumps. The 65 jumps must include 4 jumps during the hours of darkness, 25 jumps with operational equipment as prescribed by the MAJCOM. 5 jumps with an operational unit culminating in an airborne assault or operational problem, or 10 test jumps with experimental equipment. 2 night jumps performing PJM duties. And 15 jumps performing as PJM. Army and Air Force Freefall Parachutist Badges. Qualified Army and Air Force personnel may go on to earn the Military Freefall Parachutist Badge in Special Operations Training for high-altitude low-opening and high-altitude high-opening jumps. HALO HAHO training is conducted by Company B, 2nd Battalion, 1st Special Warfare Training Group of the U.S. Army Special Operations Command and lasts 4 weeks. It is awarded in 2 degrees, Basic and Master. As with the Army's Parachutist Badges, the Freefall Parachutist Badges awarded to Army personnel are also eligible for combat jump devices. The last awarding of a Freefall Parachutist Badge with combat jump device was in 2008 for a May 30, 2007 HAHO jump by ODA 074, 3rd Battalion, 10th Special Forces Group in Iraq. Navy and Marine Corps. The United States Navy and Marine Corps issue Parachutist Insignia in 2 degrees, the U.S. Military Basic Parachutist Badge, also called the Basic Parachutist Insignia, and the Navy and Marine Corps Parachutist Insignia. Parachutist Insignia is available to personnel who perform jumps as a static line parachute jumper, military freefall parachute jumper, and high-altitude low-opening parachute jumper operations. Training is accomplished by successful completion of the prescribed course of instruction while attending the U.S. Army Basic Airborne Course, U.S. Army Basic Military Freefall Parachutist Course, or other training certified by Chief of Naval Education and Training or approved by the Chief of Naval Operations. Basic Parachutist Insignia equals. The right to wear the Basic Parachutist Insignia is based on the completion of prescribed training defined in MCO 3120.11. When an enlisted member initially qualifies as a static line parachutist, an entry shall be made on NAV's 10/7613 of the service record indicating the date of qualification, type, S, of aircraft in which qualified, and unit at which the training was received. Enlisted members are authorized the parachutist designator added to their rating. A qualified static line parachute jumper who successfully completes the prescribed program of instruction while attending a formal, inter-service training facility including a minimum of 10 military freefall parachute jumps, at least 2 of which must have been conducted carrying full combat equipment, may qualify. Enlisted members are authorized the military freefall parachutist designator added to their rating. When an officer initially qualifies as a static line parachutist, The additional qualification designator of BT1 will be entered into the officer's record by their detailer. Free-fall qualification will result in an AQD of BT2. For both static line and military free-fall parachutist qualified personnel, a service record entry shall also indicate whether or not the member is HALO qualified. The Basic Parachutist Badge is a prerequisite for the Special Warfare Badge since parachutist training is an integral part of the Navy Euro unregistered trademark S Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL program. SEAL personnel generally do not wear the Basic Badge once they earn their Special Warfare Insignia, but will wear their Navy and Marine Corps Parachutist Badge in addition to the Special Warfare Badge, the latter nicknamed the Budweiser Badge. Navy EOD technicians are generally also jump qualified, with a number of them also being qualified in military free-fall. Currently, due to a recent change, newly pinned Navy EOD technicians are required to attend the U.S. Army's Basic Airborne School upon graduation. As well, a small number of SWCC personnel earn Basic Parachutist Badges in conjunction with their assignment to a special boat team detachment that uses the Maritime Craft Air Delivery System. This enables them to drop small watercraft and their crews from C-130 aircraft. Navy and Marine Corps Parachutist Insignia equals, the Navy and Marine Corps Parachutist Insignia is a gold-colored embroidered or metal insignia depicting an open parachute with outstretched wings. It is authorized for officers and enlisted personnel who were awarded the Basic Parachutist Insignia and, under competent orders, have completed a minimum of 5 additional static line or P3 jumps, to include, combat equipment day jump, 2 combat equipment night jumps, and employ at least 2 different types of military aircraft. In the latter half of WWII, graduates of the USN Parachute Rigger School were awarded this badge designed by the American Insignia Company. During World War II, members of the USMC 1st Parachute Battalion wore the same AMICO Parachute Rigger badge in the Pacific Theater because they liked the look of the wings on their uniform more than the officially approved 1.5-inch wide U.S. Army-type Basic Parachutist badges made of silver. In 1963, Major Bruce F. Myers of the Marine Corps Test Unit requested that the Navy Parachute Rigger wings be issued as the Navy Marine Corps Parachutist Badge, and it was approved that same year by Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral George W. Anderson. While all sailors and Marines can be awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Parachutist Badge, the Force Recon Marines not yet qualified continue to wear the Army Basic Parachutist Insignia. See also: Parachutist Badge, Air Assault Badge, Glider Badge, Pathfinder Badge, Blood Wings. References. External links.